Yay, go Bree! Okay, so I'm gonna kind of be like standing, like weird and stuff. So at any moment, if you can't see me, you can't hear me, you're like, hey, lo, like just let me know, okay? All right. This is something that's like not necessarily new to me. I've presented this presentation a couple of different times. Probably like this is like the fourth time I've presented this presentation to students. 2 times being at a conference, and then I'm about to present it again in November. But this time it's like it means something to me. You want to know why? Say what? You win already. Why? It means something to me because this is the Black Student Union. And we have members here, students here, that care about what the Black Student Union is doing. Who knows the mission, the purpose, mission, purpose, values of the Black Student Union? Somebody. I know someone knows. Just make something up. What do we think some of the values and missions of the Black Student Union are? Go ahead.
To find a community within each other and help one another out in times of need.
Yes, say it a little bit louder for the people in the back.
To find a community where you can help each other out and find someone to connect to and kind of like help you along the way.
Yes, community. Community is key. What else? What else do we think it is? Yup.
To promote like Black excellence and like also to connect as a whole, like a community, spiritually, business-wise and everything else like that.
Yes. So to bring your whole Black self together, Black students and any other student that's interested in Black Student Union, but specifically Black students, bringing your whole self together so that you can excel in all areas and anything that you're doing, specifically here, college, because we want you to graduate. That's no secret. We want you to like leave and go be excellent in many other places. One more thing. What else do we think? Why are we here? Like, why is this important? Why is this a thing?
Because you can't get it anywhere else.
You can't get it anywhere. Expand. Tell me more. Like Greece, tell me more. Nobody's really looking out for us except us. You know what that reminds me of? Y'all watch Insecure? And then so Insecure, it's a really great show. You should watch it on HBO. They give you a 1-month free trial. You should go try it. But how Issa works for the We Got Y'all campaign, like helping the underrepresented students in the school system, like being there for them, providing them resources. But yes, like you said, like we got to look out for each other. We got to have each other's back, which is why this is something that's so passionate to me, the Black student experience on college campuses, in schools, in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. That's something that's important to me. And that's why I'm here before you today. So I hope that you listen, you take away what you feel you need to take away. If there's something you don't think you need right now, put it in your back pocket because you might want to give it to your friend later on tonight or tomorrow if they're not here. So enjoy, ask questions. This is a call and response. I don't know if y'all can feel the vibes, but I'm not a real person. I'm very relaxed, and so let's let this be a conversation. Just as you're hearing me and you're listening to me, I'm learning from you as well. So the first slide is let it go. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world, in the classroom, at work. There's a lot. How many of you are dealing with something right now? Like just something. Like it's like something. It don't matter. Like it could be you don't know what you want for dinner. Like how many of you are dealing with something? Everybody, nobody. Okay, so we got some perfect people in the room. I want to see you later because I need some advice on how to be like you. So I gave you this sheet of paper and this scrap piece of paper. So on the back, on one side, it does say Parent and Family Day. Don't worry about that. Irma canceled it. So we're gonna use it, recycle for scrap paper. So I said to let it go. So write down anything that you just need to get out of your system right now. Anything that you left unsaid from today or from yesterday, anything that's on your back that's pestering you, that's bothering you. If you don't have a sheet of paper, you need a pen, ask a friend. So think about those things and write it down. Let it go, write it down, write it down. If you don't have a pen, borrow from your friend. Yes, you can. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to do that, to just like let it go. Like let it go. It doesn't have to be like formulated in sentences. I'm not taking this up to grade it. I don't teach any classes. So just let it go. Whatever you need to let it go. Just get it out. Anything. Thinking about the subject of today's workshop, like what is it? Like let it go. Thinking about the world. The world. Let it go. Social media, how it's a friend and a foe, let it go. All of those things. You don't have to write your name on it or anything. Like, you're just letting it go, getting it out of your system. Everybody good? Kind of good? Still need time? Okay. Let it go. Okay. So as they're finishing this up, like my friend said in the back, BSU, one of their values, she thinks should be community, which I'm pretty sure one of their values is community. So what you're going to do is you're going to introduce yourself to the person that's next to you or around you, behind you. Introduce yourself because they are your bruh, your sis, you know, anything you need them to be right now in this moment. And it's your choice. You can share whatever it is that you decided to let go. You can be the listener in the situation, but kind of introduce yourself and talk about some of the things you wrote down in that card. I'm going to give you like a minute. What's up?
Oh, my hand was raised. I was trying to.
Oh, you ready? Yeah. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, go. Introduce yourselves. You want to share with me? Okay. What's your name? Sean? I'm Janicia. So what did you decide to let go?
So I put something like kind of basic, but it's still relevant.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't mind with everything that was going on with Donald Trump was saying. So because it gets in a lot of different ways, and then like because it was said by him, a lot of people like.
Are you referring to what he said about the football protest? Yeah.
And then it's not that; it's a lot of
Yes.
different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the fact that he said it is it's ignorant, and it's like purposely dividing people because now you have people that protest football games.
Yeah.
And then you already have people that are protesting football because of everything else going
Yeah.
on with Kaepernick. So now you've got like 3 different people, the people that weren't watching it in the first place,
Yeah.
that aren't going to watch it
Yeah.
now, and then you have the actual people still watching football. But it made sports like, you can't just do just sports now, it's
Yeah.
sports and politics.
Yes, it is.
You can't split it up anymore.
I know. You really can't split up any parts of your identity anymore, and it's hard.
You can't split being black and an American.
No, you can't.
Being black and American.
It's different.
Being
different.
black and then being an American is like 2 different things.
I agree. So why are you deciding to let it go? Why do you need to let it go?
I just don't think that there's, even though it's like important to acknowledge, I don't think it's something important that we should focus on because he's said stupid stuff in the past. So I think the best way to handle something like what he's doing, I mean, there's not really much we can do because we're not in Congress, so we can't force it out. But I think the best thing we can do as a black community is come together more.
Yeah.
In the first place, we're not very collaborative
Yeah.
with each other. So I think it's more important for us to just come together more than ever because if we don't, the divide is just going to keep getting greater.
Yeah.
It's
I
going to
agree.
reach a point where we can't do anything about it.
I agree. It's a big issue, which I wish we had the answer to solve, but
The only answer is get out and vote 2021.
get out and vote. Yes. Well, thank you for sharing with me. Okay, Sean, I'm gonna remember you. Okay, thank you. All right, let's bring it back. Okay, so Did anybody meet somebody new? Yeah, oh my goodness. Woo, go. So what are some things that you all talked about? Yeah, those things will happen. Oh my goodness is my thing. So what are some things that you talked about letting go?
I put letting go of things that I can't change, specifically like financial situations.
Yes. Yes, letting go of things that you can't change, specifically financial situations. Yes. You felt it. Oh, me too. Me too. You were amen. You got to be vocal. Yes, sis. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Letting go being petty from time to time.
Being petty. Woo. I know. When people are like, you should like let go of being petty. You should grow. I'm like, God is still working on me. You mind you, and I'll mind me. Exactly. You ain't. Yes. What are some other things? Yes.
I used a different word, but I basically said letting go of these males.
Yeah. Yes. Again, letting go, unpacking, taking off these heavy burdens, those things that we necessarily can't change, but some things we are in control of, maybe being petty, and deciding on who we enter in and out of our lives.
Sometimes you don't mean to be petty. You just have your slick comments.
It's natural. Okay, I hear you. Anybody else from this side of the room? Anybody from this side of the room?
I had like a
I can't hear her, and she's sitting.
reciprocity.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Like a reciprocity.
Okay, explain. What do you mean by it?
How you treat others is not always what you're gonna get.
How you treat others is not always what you're gonna get. So why are you letting that go?
Sometimes you want to be petty, but the side of you that is still kind, like it's harder to be nice than to be mean. Sometimes for me as a lover, not a fighter, always it's easier for me to be nice to you than for me to be completely a mean person.
Yeah.
Character.
Yeah, that's good. That's growth. Okay, so the reason why I had you let it go is because all of us, in essence, are at this table. So the title of this presentation is, I know it, but being black at the table ain't easy. And we're all at the table. And sometimes we come to the table all carrying different burdens. Not only coming to the table and trying to operate and do what we're there to do, which is like being a leader in whatever you do. I'm a graduate assistant. Some of you are members of BSU, whatever else y'all are involved in. You're showing up at that table and you're there to do a job. But you're not just like there to do a job. Like you're coming as a person. You have baggage. You have some things that are like happening in your life that you can't like always ignore. And so this presentation I came up with, being black at the table ain't easy. It came from a lot of different reasons, but mainly because I had some stuff that like I couldn't let go. I tried to let it go. I tried to cover it up. I tried to change everything about myself. I tried to change my location. I even tried to change my name at one point when I was in college, and I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be on TV news. I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, at the University of Tennessee, and my junior year, I had a professor who, we were talking about like image and what the news is looking for and like what they aren't necessarily looking for. And he was like, your name, like TV names, like household names, there's something that, there are always things that people can easily pronounce. And I was like, people can't pronounce Jamesia? Like, it's Jamesia. Like, it's Jamesia. Like, it's easy. And he was like, no, go look at, this person and that person and that station and that station. I was like, okay. And then I looked, and then I went home to my mom, and, I didn't go home. I went home to call her because home is Memphis, and it was 6 hours away. But I went home, and I talked to her, and I told her what this professor told me, and I was like, I'm serious about this. Like, I want to be a journalist. Like, I want to be on TV. I need to disseminate the news. Like, people need to see me because I'm somebody that people can listen to and relate to. And she was like, you really want to change your name? And I was like, yes. And it's a long, like, real drawn-out process. It costs money to change your name. Did y'all know that? Costs money, and you have to go in front of a judge and justify why you want to change your name. And I was so worried about myself and focused on myself in that moment and like me wanting to change my name that I didn't even think about like where my name came from. like what origins it had, like how it was going to impact like my mom and my dad, like the people that like brought me like up into this world. Like I want to change my name. Like what? And so that was at that point, like my junior year, I started to really like get involved in different things on campus. But that's when I started realizing that I was trying to change myself when I was at the table in these different positions. I was trying to mold myself into being what I thought was at that table, and then when I got to that table, what I saw at that table. And sometimes I was at that table because I was acting in a way that wasn't who I was. Like, yeah, I know y'all probably like, what did you want to change your name to? Do you want to know? Yeah, I officially did change my name to Jamie. And my TV news name is going to be Jamie J. And I was ready. I was excited. But it wasn't until like I started thinking about this and what it means to be a Black student leader like today that I realized like how damaging like that area, that environment was for me, that I wanted to change my name. And now I'm proud. What's your name? Jamisha? Jamisha? No, Jamicia. And so that's something that this is what this presentation is about, is bringing your whole self to the table and not being afraid to be your true authentic self, which can be very, very, very scary. Like, is it scary for anybody else? Yeah, you can nod. You don't have to raise your hand. I know, that's kind of, yeah, it's scary. And especially being in places where, like Bree said, it's important to have somebody that looks like you, that's reflected in leadership, or even just reflected on your level as students. That even makes it that much harder. So this is why this community is important. This is why like us focusing on Black excellence is important. And this is why like the things that I said to let go, like tonight, you're not letting them go into forever. I didn't have you ball it up and like throw it away. I had you write it down so you can get it out and you can see some of the things that are going on in your mind right now and what you're bringing to the table, because that's a part of who you are. So yeah. All right, so I'm big on identity, like I've said before. Black identity, just personal identity, all of that. So hi, my name is Jamicia. I think you all heard that the first 500 times. It's Jamicia, and I identify as regular Black. Who knows what regular Black is? Does anybody know what regular Black is? Who knows? Nobody? You know? Okay, I'm listening.
Oh, African American.
Kind of, but nah. Super regular, basic Black. This is me, basic Black. I sometimes do refer to myself as African American, but I have not traced back like to see like where my folks are from, which that's going to be a Christmas gift to my parents this December, but don't tell them. And so I consider myself, like as I've been in grad school in the higher ed program, like as I've been like learning more about who I am, like in relation to those around me, I like always like try to like fit into all of these different boxes and all of these different molds. Like I wanted to be what everybody else wanted me to be. And then it wasn't until like last year when I was like, I'm just Black. Like that's all I got for you. Like that's all I got and that's all I can give. And so it took me a while to be like, this is okay, but it's okay. And I know like we're in a very unique place here in South Florida where a lot of our students of color know like your origin and like where you're from, and that is so beautiful and that is so great, and that's one of the reasons I really like being at FIU. So yeah, I'm regular Black and my pronouns are she, her, hers, and then I put on this side, so that's how I identify myself, and then at the table, I should have put some little headings, but I try not to be too wordy. At the table, I feel like these are what others identify me as. An African American woman, because everybody wants to be politically correct and not offend anyone. I am a second year graduate student. I'm a graduate assistant, and then like I'm a student. And I feel like those are like all identities. They all like are pretty much like the same thing, except the first one. I'm here like at the table. They see me, my identity, and then they know the credentials or why I'm here, like at FIU. So at my table, when I'm referring to my table, I'm referring to my job downstairs, not downstairs, it's all over campus. We're referring to my job, orientation and parent programs. That's who I am like at the table along with a host of other things. And so does anybody really quick, can you think about like, can anybody think of like their two or one identities that anybody want to share? That's enough. I need y'all to talk, okay? Okay, you agree? Look, I was foreshadowing. So who are you? Yes, who are you?
Raquan, pronouns he, him, his, regular black as well, and law student.
You're a law student. Thank you for being here. Who are you at the table? What do you feel like? Are you that same Raquan at the table?
I would say I'm essentially the same person.
Essentially the same person regardless. That's good. Who else? Who else is in here? I see you rubbing your knee, Amani. I know you.
Wow.
So my name is Imani. I am a black woman. I'm Caribbean, and let's see. I'm the education enrichment coordinator, and I am a peer educator with CAPS. I guess those are some things.
Yeah, those are things. Anybody else? I see you. Yeah, I see you. I told y'all it was a conversation. Do you want to share? I won't force you.
My name is Brianna. I'm Haitian. I'm a psych major. At the table, I guess I would identify as a provider,
Mm-hmm.
a student, and African American, I guess.
Yeah, good, good. It's important before you're like at the table or while you're at the table, it's important that you know who you are so you don't end up, which this is not a terrible thing because we all like go through our different phases of like identity, but so you won't be going from Jamesia to Jamie and you not know like who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. It's important that you know, and so you also don't go to the table and you're taking on other identities that people are giving you. It's important. No, like some people, yes, like you know who you are, and that's fine, but it's still a work in progress for others, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm in grad school, like, and I'll be 23 on Sunday, and I'm just now, like, comfortable, really comfortable with being who I am. So that's not a problem, okay? All right, so the breakdown. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about right now. So we're going to talk about the table. We're going to talk about being black. We're going to talk about challenges. And if you didn't hear me, I said we are going to talk about the table, being black, and some of the challenges at the table, okay? We. All right, so the table. I kind of already identified the table, but now I need to kind of get a gist of who's in the room and what tables you are actually at. And be specific. So if you're just a member at the table or if you're a leader at that table, like let us know like what tables are all represented here.
So my name is Shanae Robinson. At the table here, I'm the Black Student Union's membership coordinator. Outside of FIU, I am a program director for Easter Seals, which is a nonprofit that works with adults and children with disabilities. In both positions, I would consider myself a leader, but as a student, I would consider myself more laid back, observant,
Okay.
Relaxed.
Good job. That was good. Anybody else? Any more tables? Go ahead.
My name is Millie. I'm a student here. I guess at the table, I'm a resident assistant for first year students here at FIU. Sorry. And I'm in charge of an LLC called Social Changemakers, which is like social justice.
Anybody else? Any tables you're at? Go ahead. And I'll get you two.
My name's Janelle. I'm a second year grad student, and on campus I'm a student, and I'm an athletic training intern at Doral Academy, and I'm a leader.
Good, good.
Like Raquan, I'm in law school, but I recently got a seat at the table with the Student Bar Association.
Wow.
As the 1L, which is first year rep.
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing like your tables. It's important to know and to be able to recognize where you're sitting at a table. And being at a table, you're sitting there and you have a voice. At least you're supposed to. Sometimes some people can like overtalk, and we'll get into that later. And sometimes, you know, you're at the table and you don't necessarily feel like you can talk. But at the table, you have a seat, but it's dependent upon you what you do with that seat. So it's good for you to be able to identify whether or not you're a leader at that table or whether you're just a member like at the table. And sometimes being a member like is not like, I'm not gonna say sometimes, being a member, just a member isn't a bad thing. It's good for us to know like our roles and know like our strengths and what's good for us and what we need in order to make ourselves better like and later on in life and even in the moment. So it's not not anything bad, but it's important for you to be able to know those things. And so I hope y'all are all just like listening and like you're like, okay, I'm gonna think about this later since you're not talking. Okay, that's fine. I won't throw any more shade. Okay, being black, is it because I'm black? Anybody want to share before like I delve in? Is that a? Oh, okay, no. I need y'all to talk. Your experience as a black person at the table.
Actually, is an interesting thing in law school. One of our classes, our professor, Hispanic professor, he often talks about real life issues, social issues, whether it's with women or people of color. And the interesting thing was not how the professor talked, but that many of our classmates then assumed that we would get upset with the professor because he would say this is like when he was talking about a black issue, he would direct it towards us, but because he understood what we were going through. Not that he wanted our opinion, but that the scenario, I mean, essentially revolved around us. It was funny. I found it kind of funny that several of my white counterparts thought that I would take offense to that.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Go ahead, and then I'll get you, Millie, and I'll come to you.
Well, I went to high school in Georgia.
Oh. We're neighbors. I'm from Tennessee. We're neighbors.
I mean, I'm from New York, so I know the difference.
You do.
So, yeah, I mean, being in high school, I was in all the AP classes, so all my teachers were white. And this one teacher decided that one day we needed to pray before a test, which was already wrong. So, but no, then she decided she was going to make up for it by saying we was going to pray to, Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad Ali. What? So, my dad's Muslim. I'm the only one in the class that's black and Muslim adjacent that knows, the reference.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her like, really? And then I went to an administrator, a black administrator, and she told me, oh, yeah, she does that all the time. I'm just not the one to be quiet. So I went ahead and called my superintendent, who was also my mentor for my senior project. And she knows what I'm going to work at the school.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little too black to be dealing with that.
Yes, our identity, how we look on the outside yields different responses, whether like it's from people who thinking that they like let me like think about this issue, let me help you because I know that you're probably like, I don't know, like I feel awkward, so you might feel awkward because you're black and they're talking about the black just saying the word black people like is bad, like it's scary, like yes, and then yielding responses like, okay, like let me make sure I'm being inclusive and while not really being inclusive. Yeah. Bam, bam. Go ahead.
So like one of the other things I do is I'm a tutor for like the athletes. Primarily I deal with the football players and basketball players. So it's majority black. The other athletes, the other tutors though, they're primarily Caucasian. So today while I was sitting in the tutoring lounge and I had my headphones in but my music wasn't high in case a student needed me. I was listening to the white tutors talk. And they're talking about traditional foods from like other countries. And they got on Ethiopia, and they were like, "Oh, that's like the motherland. I'm surprised they have food. What they drink? Dirt water." And then when someone was like, "Yeah, do they even have a traditional dish? Like they don't even have food there." So that was today, and then Sunday it was the class Black Pop Cultures or whatever. I can't tutor everyone in that class.
No.
So
it's not your responsibility either. No.
So like it got split between me and a Caucasian girl, and she was like, they must not know I'm white. I'm white. I can't tutor this. I don't even listen to that gangster hip hop. She should be the only one that tutors it. And she pointed at me and I was like, okay.
Yes, again, your identity yielding like those responses, like, and you're just sitting there like listening.
Sometimes you don't mean to have a slick response.
It can be challenging, which is why we're here talking about it, because sometimes like I know that it might be difficult to talk about these things like at your table, which we'll get into in a moment.
Well, I would say for me, as a black woman in general, as a black woman who I consider myself conscious, I feel like I'm often like being that black person.
Yeah.
Who anytime something makes me feel a little like, I don't know if I like this, I have to be that black person and be like, I don't really think I like this. And sometimes it can be, I don't want to say alienating, but sometimes it can be a little alienating.
No, yeah.
Especially if you know, like at my job, for example, I'm like one of
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be really like that. We'll have a meeting or we'll be talking about something. Or for example, we were talking about like the tailgate, and they were talking about like making it more together and like not having everybody have separate DJs and
Yeah.
things like that. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable because the people that are predominantly going to be providing music are probably not going to be the kind of music that I want to listen to.
Yeah.
And I like that when I go to tailgates, there's a place for me to go and be comfortable
Mhm.
with people that look like me. You know, and not in a mean way, just in a, I don't want to go to Summerfest for tailgates. I don't listen to that kind of music. I don't want to hear that at a tailgate.
That's very real.
And I feel like, you know, sometimes when I have to be that person that says, oh, well, as the black voice in the room, I don't think black people would be uncomfortable with this. Because we know we're not going to be the people providing the music. We're going to be at tailgates listening to, I don't know. You know, so it's like, it's kind of like.
It makes you stick out like a sore thumb, like.
Yeah, it's kind of like, and I feel like every time I am that voice, it's always, you kind of see on people's faces when they're like, here she goes.
Again, yeah.
And I'll be like, well, here we go.
Yeah, no, I get it. I do. I get it. So it's that like, okay, like I know what I'm saying, like it needs to be said because if I'm feeling like this as a student, like I know like I'm not the only one.
Or like if you want to put like, and this is simple, like if you want to put a monkey on like a flyer, maybe we should consider like what the flyer is about.
Yeah.
Or the fact that monkeys just make some people feel uncomfortable. Me namely, I don't
Yeah.
really want
No,
monkey
yeah.
on a flyer because I don't know, like what are you trying to promote?
Yeah.
I'm gonna see a monkey and I'm probably gonna get offended and I'm gonna read it and I'm like, oh, this wasn't really offensive.
Yeah.
I'm really offended, so it's too late.
I feel like that too. I'm like, I'll ask Bree, I'm like, am I overthinking this? And she'll be like, nope, girl, that's right. Like, that's wrong. And I'm like, you right, that's real wrong. And like, it's not wrong, but.
And I'm like, just, you know, save yourself the trouble and don't put the monkey in the first place.
No, yeah.
Just avoid the angry black people me.
Yeah.
And don't put the monkey.
No, yeah, I agree. And that's good that though you're looking through, we need people at different tables that look through that kind of lens. Like, we need that. People that are always questioning. No, it might not always be something that's wrong, but if you're just doing it and you're not giving thought to it, then like, first of all, why are you doing it if you didn't think about it? Like, what was your intention? Because your intention may be one thing, but your impact to students, the people that we're here serving, like, that may be completely different. That intent versus impact is something that's missing at a lot of people's tables. There was a flyer that was released last semester. I don't remember what specific organization it was, but I don't know if y'all are familiar with the meme. It's like a little boy. He looks like he's a little black boy, and he has like on like the underwear diaper thing, and yeah, and he's like some kind of like this, like he's like. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it looks like the depiction of what Africa is, and this organization put this on there, and I was like, this is wrong. Like, this is absolutely, the kid is smiling in the picture, but this is wrong. Like, your intentions may have been whatever you needed them to be, but your impact and like how people are perceiving this is way off. Like, what's up? And so that's good for us to know like how our identity shapes our experience at the table. Is it yielding those different responses that are uncalled for, like wrong, blatantly wrong? Or is it calling for us to be a voice that sometimes makes us feel like we're the sore thumb, or we're that black girl, or like the only thing we care about is race? Because people think racism is gone, y'all. Like, it's not here anymore. So you need to stop talking about it, because you really do. Like, it doesn't matter, okay? And then, like, what are the challenges? What are your challenges? Yes, like you. And I know you all like kind of hit on some challenges. Anybody else have any challenges that you experience in your different leadership roles? We'll go over here, and then I'll come back to you, okay?
Okay, so I worked at a recreational swimming place. You already know where this is going. I was the only front desk girl that was black, so I worked in the front desk. So there would be this specific customer that would come in because they had to check in with their certain numbers, like their membership numbers. So you would always come in, you'd be like, hey, he's like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty. He's like, do you swim? So I was like, no, I don't really swim like that. I'm like, I don't professionally swim. I just swim, you know.
Yeah.
In water. So he was like, oh, he's like, you should swim more often. He's like, you know, I never see any of you sisters swimming. And I was like, what do you mean? I know. joke about it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
obviously felt alienated
Yeah.
because I couldn't go to anyone else in the office.
Yeah.
Everyone else is literally Caucasian.
Yeah.
So I had no one else to really go to speak about it. But
Yeah.
you would do that like all the time.
Yeah.
Like you would make a joke about it. And I'm just like, dude. Like, so
Yes.
after a while, I just like I would have somebody else deal with him, like another.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. So again, like those responses, but then your challenge being that you don't have anybody else at that table that you feel comfortable enough with that can talk you through like this, because that is harassment. So.
The one thing I feel like I always do is like having to justify like my beauty for being like dark skinned.
Mhm.
It's like, you know, they'll be like, oh, she's pretty, but she's too dark. So then
Mhm.
I'm always that person like, what's wrong with her? Like,
Yeah.
she's just as pretty as everybody else.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm always like, I feel like I'm always having to justify or argue why we should be considered beautiful or
Yeah.
like, seen at a standard like of a girl who's like has long hair or
Yeah.
she's like skinny or something. It's like, you know, I feel like we're glorified for the wrong things versus just how we look and everything else. And I feel like I feel like I look like that person. Like it's like when they talk about like girls or something like that, it's like they like kind of like downplay it because they know I'm around and I'm gonna say something. So I feel like it shouldn't be like that. It should just be like if you're gonna talk about somebody, just talk about like their features and and keep going. Don't be like, oh yeah, she's too dark. I would date her, but nah, she's too dark or she's pretty, blah blah blah. It just doesn't make sense. It's just like either she's just beautiful or she's attractive or you're not attracted at all. Don't say nothing else. That's it.
Yeah. So justifying like your beauty and like not having to continue to measure yourself to like other people's personal standards of beauty. Because according to Bree, like I like ugly guys, but they're beautiful to me. They are beautiful. They are beautiful, but the same like her justification for beauty like isn't mine. I agree. We'll go back here, and then I promise I have more questions. Okay.
Okay, so I would say as a business student, I'm in very large classes. So like today, we're in international management, and our professor is Asian, like straight from China. But I am it's 3 sister girls in that class, including myself. And there's a Muslim girl and there's a girl from Russia. So she was talking about how do Muslim culture, is that the reason why women dress the way that they dress, or is that based on the government? Now there's all these white Hispanic women in there, and
Explain what you mean by white Hispanic.
so like Venezuela, white Cubans. I'm Afro-Latina, so that's why I'm saying it like it is. I'm sorry, we're all not.
No, that's why I wanted you to define.
So I'm talking about Venezuela, South American, Hispanics, and you would think if there's a Muslim girl in the room that you would let her explain herself, but you know the white girl just rose her hand. It was like, well, obviously it's because the government, in her words, not mine, the government forces the women to dress that way, and that's how their culture should work. I said, but she's right here, so why are you silencing her? Because she is considered a person of color when she could have explained. And then when we got to the topic of Russia, that's why the Russian girl was important. They said, well, how is your customs? And everyone turned and looked at the Russian girl like, tell me more. But you silence this Russian girl in class. So what is the difference between someone that's from the Middle East and someone that's from Russia? But you don't want to hear her perspective. But you're not even from that same area. You want to speak over her. It just really bothered me.
Yeah.
It's my personal challenge, but
No, that's
like, that girl,
legit.
She's like, there's other black women, but you're the only Muslim woman in that class. And if it's 6 people in that class, I see why you could feel ostracized or scared to talk about it. Because I mean, she's fully covered in that class.
Yeah.
So they're already looking at her crazy. Nobody wanted to work with her in the group.
Yeah.
So I sit next to her to make sure, you know, like, sis, I got you.
Yeah.
But I just saw how visibly uncomfortable she was, and I didn't like that the professor didn't give her a chance to kind of say her point.
Yeah.
Because we go to other regions and their perspectives are welcome, and hers wasn't.
That's an important role. I don't know if you've seen my presentation, but I talk about silencing. But that's an important role that you have just articulated, like at the table, which sometimes people are like okay with speaking up for themselves, but sometimes you have sisters, brothers, whoever at the table that don't feel like they can speak up for themselves. So you being at the table and not only being aware of yourself, but being aware of those around you, that's important because it's your table. Like, granted, yes, there are some people at the table that you're just like, But then overall, you're at this table because you're invested in whatever it is that you're doing. I'm invested in orientation. I'm invested in students becoming leaders and being able to like fully commit. I'm invested in that. But just because like so-and-so is there doesn't mean I'm going to step away because that other person that may not be able to speak up for themselves like needs people like that to be able to not necessarily speak for them, but help them elevate their voice. Yeah. I'm going to come back to you. I promise, okay? I got so much, and y'all are talking finally after I made you feel guilty. So, tell the truth, Jamesia. Yeah, I was talking to myself. This is Tamala Mia. I don't know if y'all know her. Yeah. So, this presentation, like I told you all, has been through a couple of different things. Couple of different titles, because I was like at the table, like I've had all these opportunities and I knew what I wanted to say, but I was at a table where I was the person that feel like I was like, like I can talk, like I can speak for myself, but because I don't want to feel like that girl, and like I don't feel like there are people at the table that can understand like where I'm coming from and help me process my experiences. And so this presentation started off as Student Leadership Summit. It was a seat, I did it with Bree. It was a seat at the table embracing the self-aware leader. We literally spent all night long, like in our kitchen at 109, trying to figure out like how to say what this presentation is about, like right now, without saying black. Like literally, like we spent all night, like, And then I was like, the example underneath it, like what I really wanted to say, a seat at the table, don't mess with me, insert black ache that you experience in student leadership roles. Because that was really like how I was feeling, but I still didn't say it. I didn't give myself a chance to stand firm in my truth at the table. Then I went and I presented this presentation at SHRO, which is the Southern Regional Orientation Workshop that I go to with the peer advisors. And I went to an undergrad, and I was like, yo, okay, like this one's hitting on it, You got to sit at the table, but it's some people that's not talking, and you're not even paying attention to them. But I still didn't really want to say that. I said, I'm at the table, but y'all ain't trying to hear me. I got some gems to drop, sis. I don't know if y'all understand that. Okay. And then I was just like, you got a seat at the table, but like I just don't want to eat today. Like there are some times that I show up, that I'm physically showing up at the table because I have to. Not because I want to. There are things after last November, I didn't want to get up and go to work. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I wanted some time like for myself. Like after the police officer in St. Louis was found like no, I'm not going to say it because whatever. But the police officer in St. Louis who is free, like I couldn't get up and bring my like self to a table to give to others or to receive what was going. I couldn't do that. So that's where I just don't want to eat today, and that's something that you need to, like, people at the table need to be able to understand. And then it's here, being black at the table ain't easy. And I was just like Tamala Man said, like, I'm just tired. Like, I'm tired of all the mess. Like, I'm tired. My identity has, like, a lot to do with my experiences in different leadership roles and, like, my purpose and, like, my why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so, like, that's what my truth, which is still, like, building upon that now. But it's being able to say, like, what you want to say and saying it unapologetically. Yes, like, being aware, that looks different for each of us. For me, it's this, like doing like formal, kind of formal and informal presentations. Like some people, it's just straight up saying what you need to say. Some people, it's writing poems, music. It like takes all different forms. And so you need to figure out like what it is that you want to say. What's your truth? What's your story that you need to tell? Because if it's not being told at that table, are you really like bringing your whole self like there? Like, are you? Just think about it. You don't got to say yes or no. Cool. So then, I don't know if y'all can see this. Can you see it? Okay. I'm not conceited, I promise. Like, I'm not conceited. I didn't turn off the real light. But I kind of like added like the different like phases like of myself, because I'm a person that's really big on storytelling and knowing like who you are. And that just happened now. So it wasn't like that like always of my life. Like I grew up in a single parent household until probably like middle school. When my mom was married again, like she was like dating, but yeah, grew up in a single parent household. I was just like this little girl from Memphis. All I knew was like this all I knew. Like Memphis, like I still do it now, so it's okay. Then I went to middle school. I still really didn't know who I was. Like I cheered on the cheerleading team. My school was very diverse. It was in Memphis. Like, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Memphis. It's like not like any other part of Tennessee, just put it like that. So whatever you like have in your mind about Tennessee, it's kind of almost the opposite. A very diverse high school. Like we were introduced to many different people from different cultures and different backgrounds, but I still, of course, like I'm in middle school, I don't know what that means. Then I went to high school. I knew for sure I was going to Howard University. I was going to go to an HBCU. I was going to be my blackest self, because this is also like a picture from high school where I was involved in the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. I was like, yeah, like I kind of know what's going on, but I really don't want to know what's going on. I was like in the phase of being that black was just glamorous, like, and it was just something that everybody was talking about, and I needed to be a part of the conversation because I was black. Like that's all I knew. And then I got to the University of Tennessee. This is my first year as an orientation leader. Boy, oh boy, and that's when I lost all of like who like I was growing up, which I was just a kid, like an innocent child who really just, I didn't know who I was, and nobody expected me to know who I was. But anyways, everything that I learned, knew about myself was gone, disappeared. This orange polo like covered it all, because I was so focused on being what I saw like my orientation leaders at orientation, like on the stage, like so happy, like hot mess. And I like, I tried to emulate every single thing that I saw them do, everything that they were getting involved in. I was trying to go get involved in, and I was getting rejected, like left and right. Like my first involvement, this was being an orientation leader, and I was like, ooh, like just like them, I'm gonna have this in my pocket. I could do everything else. I like tried to go be a service and leadership ambassador. Like no, like I tried to be like our version of a Panther Camp facilitator. No, like I tried to do everything, and I was like, why is it not working for me? Like it works for them. Like I wear the same like I do the same dance. Like why is it not working like for me? And then that's when I was like, you know what? I did it for another year for different reasons, and I don't have a picture of that. I did orientation for 2 years, and then I did a couple of different roles like after that, once I started to kind of find my niche. And then I found my niche. This is really who I am. Like this person right here. Yep, that's me. I then became the president of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People at UT. And yeah, like that's who I was with people that got it. Like I still didn't fully grasp like what it meant for us to be black students at UT at the time, but I knew that it was important for my members that like saw me, and we were working through, like I told you all earlier, that this is something that like I'm learning from you as you're learning from me. That's what we were doing with each other. Like we had a really good year, as it was the year of exploration. It was the year of me like no longer pretending to have it together, because I didn't know what to do. Like people were legit like depending on me, and most of the people only showed up to that meeting and those meetings because they saw NAACP and they saw this little black girl, like somebody that looked like them. That was literally, I'm 100% sure, why some people showed up. And I don't knock them for that, because I do the same thing. And it was like in these moments in this year when I realized how important that role was, not only for the members in the NAACP, but the outside people that were looking in, is when I realized what I wanted to do and how education was important. Because at my school, like in that organization, not a lot of our members like were retained, graduated. Not a lot of our members graduated, or some of them took like 6 and 7 years to graduate, and they were just like forever like around UT. And I'm like, this is not supposed to be like this. Like it's greatness, which kind of trickles into what I'm doing now. But just to give you like kind of a glimpse of some of the things that I experienced at UT, after the president, no, he's not the president, my president, Obama, was elected, was re-elected, they put cotton balls outside of our Black Cultural Center. And all of our custodial workers pretty much were people of color, and they had to go outside and pick up that off the floor. That happened while I was there. There was also another incident of where there was a tour going on, and people from fraternity houses felt like it was okay to like throw banana peels like on the curb as students are walking by. Like there are so many issues like at UT, but UT is not the only school, because these aren't isolated events. Just my senior year, I was there like fighting, literally begging and pleading to state legislators to not cut funding for our Office for Diversity and Inclusion. They cut funding for our Office for Diversity and Inclusion to give police little decals for their car that said, "In God We Trust." Like literally begging and pleading. And in those moments where people were looking to me, like as somebody who owned one of these orange polos, and as somebody that was in this leadership position, as somebody that was a member like of those tables, to like not only speak up at those tables, but then to come back and report to them and let them know what was going on and what was happening and what was I doing, what was I saying, like how was I looking out for them. Like how you said, like this is somewhere where like I feel like y'all got my back, and like I see you, like you look like me, like you hear me. That was what people's expectation of me like was at that time. And I really, like I started to grasp it, but I was like, this is like huge, like this is too much. Like how can you expect this like of a student? So then I graduated. I didn't add that picture because I wasn't that cute in it. And then I ended up doing an internship right after I graduated at Bethune-Cookman University. Anybody familiar? Yeah, whoo, hell Wildcat. Yeah. That was one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life, because here I had black students who were working towards being educated, black students that were like depending like on me, not only depending on me, but challenging me to the core. It was hard, like creating that relationship with them, creating those bonds, creating that trust, because here they see some little black girl that came from all these different tables where privilege is just like in the air, like all they knew, like UT football, like ooh, ah, ah. So I had to come down. I'm a graduate intern, seen like as a professional, and I had to come down like to their level to meet them where they were, so they can understand like how where I've been, the tables that I've sat at, like all like led me to here. And like I'm here, like I'm learning, and I'm trying to, serve you as best as I can. That was the most challenging thing that I've ever done in my life. And now to here where I'm at FIU, and it's a lot. But it's completely different. But like now that I've had time to sit and reflect on like where I've been in my life, like this table that I'm important at, like there are no opportunities that I let go by where I'm not vocalizing like how I feel for myself and advocating on behalf of my students that can't advocate for themselves. There's not a single moment that goes by. It can be the smallest thing, but it's big to me, like you were talking about, E-Money. It's forcing me, it's making me engage in these conversations, helping black students to realize like who you are, and that you are important and you add value to these different tables that you sit at. And then, so why a seat at the table? So don't Solange me. Last whatever year when she released this album, and I was listening to it, and I was like, ooh, oh, yeah. I wasn't really being true to who like I was. I had done that reflection, and I knew like why I was here, but I was still just going with the flow like when I got to FIU. So Solange's album, it was very reflective for me. It helped me to apply like some of the things that she was singing about, talking about, like the guest features that she had on the album. It forced me to reflect. I still listen to this album. Are y'all familiar with it? Okay, perfect, great. Point for you all. And then it helped me think about the issues of race. Solange is very level-headed in this album. She is the complete opposite for me, because I'm like, nope. But she says things so like eloquently, which is why I was like, it's important for you to be able to articulate your experiences in your life at your table in your different kind of way. Like, and so Solange helped me think about she helped me take a step back from how I viewed it and like listen to her perspective and kind of take pieces like of what I wanted from her perspective and like add it to mine. And then womanhood. That's a piece, I'm just be honest, that I'm still working on, because the term feminist and the feminist movement has been so whitewashed lately. I'm like, what, huh? So I'm just like, I'm black. It's intersectional, but I'm still working on those other pieces. And it's okay to admit if you're still working on unpacking those other parts of your identity. We don't want you to have it, like we don't expect you to have it all figured out. And then equality, and how black people are still like begging for seats at the table. And even if you have a seat at the table, begging, yelling to be heard. Like, what does that mean? And then healing, how to like just sometimes release and like take care of yourself and give yourself like what you need in those moments. And then family was something that was big and important to her. I don't know, y'all heard like on the album when like her mom had a little feature, and like family is something that's important to me and drives like part of the values of mine. Like when I'm sitting at the table, my family is a part of my purpose and a part of my why. And you should know like what your why is. Like what's driving you to come here every single day, fight Miami, like why? Like, are you doing it for the piece of paper, like, at the end? Yes, you are, but, like, why else are you doing it? And so then I was like, okay, now what am I going to think about? I'm going to think about the value. We're going to think about the value that we bring to the table as black student leaders, the silencing that some black student leaders experience at the table, vocality, how to be vocal, how to speak up, and know, like being confident speaking up as well. And then I bolded power, privilege, microaggressions, and then anything else that we start to talk about, which I'm pretty sure I've done this presentation and I kind of like have to like spoon feed a lot of the teaching. So I've omitted a lot of different things from it. And so do you all have any questions from this list? Or, because we're going to talk a little bit about power, privilege, and microaggressions. Anything? Well, that's why I was like, remember silencing, because it's something that does, in fact, like happen at the table. So I have Stevie J, don't Solange me, like, let me live my life, like, don't give me all these truths. LOL, Jimmy Sia. So funny. So racial microaggressions. Anybody experience any of these? Okay, that was like 6 and a yes. So yes, okay, one person explained to me a microaggression that like you've experienced. Like, how did you realize it was a microaggression and like what? Okay, I haven't heard from Sean. Okay, I'm gonna come back to you. I promise at the end I'm gonna let y'all talk a lot.
All right, so for me, I think the one that really sticks out is that you don't act like a normal black person. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I'm really mild-mannered and I'm like really reserved too. I'm like very like, but I'm not very
very, I know. I know.
I'm not very vocal. So really middle school and high school were I was really monotone. So a lot of people ask, "Oh, you like talk white or you act why are you so quiet or um you just don't act like a lot of black people I know." And that was and I guess it goes with that. I didn't see that.
Oh, it's fine. It's kind of small.
I think that was a problem for me because two reasons. Like being proper isn't race based; it's who raises you, and
that was tweetable.
Just make sure you put me on that.
He said, "Make sure you put his name. Give him credit."
And I was raised proper.
Yeah.
And I actually have I had like 2 households. So I have my household and then my sisters. So they were raised differently, and so we were just brought up different. So they're not quiet like I am or reserved, but me and my brother kind of are. So when I hear people say that you don't act like a normal black person, it makes me feel a lot of different ways because it's not good and in a sense it's kind of setting you apart because you don't act like that normal black person, you may be like pushed into other groups.
Yeah.
So you may be able to connect more with other people like Caucasian people, but then it also isolates you from the black people because then they think, oh well, you don't really associate with us or you don't understand what we go through. And I wasn't like raised where my dad was raised, because my dad was raised in like inner city Tampa, so I don't understand that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I understand like a suburban lifestyle, so it's just like pulling 2 parts of me apart kind of.
That's very valid. That's very, very valid. Racial microaggressions, not even like people don't even really understand. Like when somebody says like, you don't act like a normal black person or you're talking white, like, but you don't even know me. Like you don't know me. Like that's not what that like come on now. Like it's hard for me even now to be able to articulate like explaining to people like why this isn't like okay, why this is very problematic, like, why it makes you feel like isolated and why it makes you feel like pushed off into different groups. Go ahead, real quick, and then I'll let you talk since I let her talk. I'm fair. Okay.
I just was gonna say, the whole thing. Y'all been talking about being silenced and all that thing, but I kind of experienced the opposite of that of being the token.
Yeah.
Being the one that all the white people think they can come to talk about what they can't talk about to other black people because the rest of them would probably kick their ass or something like that, or that's what they think.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm probably your worst option. But that happened to me over summer because I'm a culinary major, so I worked at a catering business all summer, all through high school and everything. And my boss is white, 60-year-old white man, went to and don't know no different. But he just feels like he can ask me all the questions that he been thinking about his whole life
Yeah.
that he never got to ask. So, but
Girl,
the
I
thing is, I
feel
don't have my car yet, so he has to drive me to work. So it's every day. So what do you think about like? See, I don't see color, and that's where I had to stop it right there. Because as soon as he said that, I was like, well, you're wrong from jump.
Yeah.
Like you can't start it like that.
No,
You should
yeah.
see color, because how you say you see me but don't see
Exactly.
what I am off rip.
Exactly.
So
That's
that's the
extremely.
problem I've had my whole life. I've always been with white people and been accepted as a
Mhm.
person, but now I'm the explainer for the whole Black history and future, present, past, and I'm just not. No,
Yeah.
that's not my job.
That's very valid, and that shows like how even like though like we are a community, we got each other, we see each other, and we look like each other. We still have different experiences at the table, and we shouldn't put that expectation on each other to feel like, oh, okay, like yeah, you down, you know that this, you know, is some weave. Like no, like well, yeah, I think you know that, but we shouldn't put that expectation on each other to understand where we're coming from. And how our experiences at the table can be extremely like on polar opposite ends.
For the one that's like you're pretty for like they'll say you're pretty for a black girl or whatever.
Mhm.
And then like at first I'll be like, oh my god, they call me pretty or whatever. But like then I started thinking about it, like that's not a compliment. Like you're saying I'm pretty on like black girl standards, but now I'm regular standards.
Yeah.
You feel me? So like I don't take that as a compliment. Like
Yeah.
why can't I just be pretty because I'm pretty, not for.
Yeah. It's kind of bringing back what my friend over here shared a little bit earlier. Those like where are these standards coming from? We're all people. Like I wasn't put on this earth to look like, unless you got a twin, you maybe. But thinking about those things, I promise I'm gonna come to all of you, okay? Because I want to save time like at the end for you all to just like kind of unload. But yeah, Rachel, my gargars. Yeah. And then thinking about power and privilege. So the University of Southern California, their Masters of Social Work department, I really feel like y'all should Google it. It's like Diversity Toolkit. Look it up, and it's a toolkit for people to be able to put on like diversity programming, but it provides a lot of information on what diversity is and how power and privilege permeates through students' experiences in college. And so even if you want to facilitate something one day, like you can team up, we can do it. Student Leadership Summit is coming, like whatever. All right, so this photo, we have the agent, and the agent is always someone of the dominant group. Caucasian is like an example, the dominant group. For our case here at FIU, what is the dominant group? Hispanic, yeah, Hispanic, yes. So thinking about the Asian, thinking about the dominant culture, the thing that everybody sees, which is probably what people are measuring when they're like measuring beauty and stuff, how y'all are talking, they're measuring those things against what they see as the agent. And thinking about how that changes based on your location. And then down here, like, are the targets. So the agent yields or distributes, I can't think of the word, gives off, he, she, they, discriminate, they oppress, marginalize, exploit, and disenfranchise. Those are all very big, lofty words that I would not necessarily always use. Me, Jamesia, as a second year graduate student, I'll be like, the agent is mean. The agent is mean to all of the targets. They are mean. But these are some terms and experiences that targets experience in their different roles or in their different areas of where they live. And so thinking about power and privilege at the table, though, thinking about that, who can connect those instances of power and privilege permeating at your table? You got it? Go.
Well, I'm not sure if it really 100% relates to like the
This picture, it doesn't have to, no.
But I feel like an example of power and privilege is when, like, okay, so like I feel like an example would be like if you are a person who's, let's say, white and you're male and you're, let's say, upset about something. Let's say, for example, you want to go to administration because you're upset about whatever. I feel like because of your privilege in society, because of your privilege at FIU, in life in general, you're gonna be listened to.
Yes.
Your voice is gonna be heard, and it's not gonna be automatically assumed that you're irrational.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, well, let's figure out what's going on here. How can we help you? If you aren't that privileged person and you come in there, you could be less angry. You could actually be just slightly annoyed. it's gonna be like, whoa, 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 why are you coming at us with this level of animosity? I need you to level down a little bit.
Yeah.
Really, really crazy. And it's like, I'm mildly angry. Like,
I'm gonna use that. I'm mildly angry.
like,
Mildly.
like my anger level is moderate. Like, cause for an example, I was upset at my job. We were playing a game. Sometimes I can be a little bit
Competitive?
yeah. And I said something a little snappy at one of my coworkers,
Mhm.
and I felt like everybody was there. I was acting like I came at her like way up here, and I was like, I don't even care about the game. I was just
Yeah.
I was a little snapped.
Mhm.
She was saying some reckless stuff over there, but nobody was looking at her as
Yeah.
if she was super aggressive. Like, she's a white girl with glasses. She's not white, she's Cuban, but she's a white girl with glasses.
Mhm.
I'm me, and I'm like, you know, bigger. I'm taller than her. I was just like, I feel like on a level of who was angrier, she was the angrier person. So I don't understand why I was getting treated like the angrier person.
No, yeah. And that is privilege, like acting, like in itself. Thinking about those identities that you have. And everybody, all of us experience some type of privilege depending on like where we are. Like in what situation are we the agent? All of us experience some type of privilege. It took me a while to be able to, I'm just being honest. It took me a while to be able to say, yes, like I have privilege when I'm like learning all these things and reading all these things. I'm like, no, like I don't have privilege. Like I'm working hard to get where I am. Like it took me a long time, not a long time, but it took me some time to be able to own the fact that I have privilege, and we all experience privilege in different ways. And so thinking about your table, thinking about like physical and like what that means, like who identifies as the agent in like certain situations and who is the target in different situations, and how are people like responding and reacting and like communicating like with each other at the table. It takes on many different forms, and you brought up a bunch of like good, like a bunch of concrete examples on like, yes, like I'm a Black woman and I'm getting excited about the game because you want me to be excited and invested in the game. But when I'm like getting a little too excited, and you know, my other friend or coworker is like, you know, not as it like, why is her excitement like read different than like my excitement? Like, what is it? I have some of the interactions I have with my students, like the peer advisors, is getting them to think about their identities and how it's coming off to their first year students, because they're like, well, this student like does not listen to me at all. But these students, they're like, hey, yeah, like I'm ready. And I was like, you have to realize you may see yourself one way. I don't know if any of you are familiar with W.E.B. Du Bois. He has this concept thinking about the veil, and it's talking about identity. On one side of the veil, it's you, and you see this how you see yourself. And on the other side of the veil is how others perceive you and see yourself. And I had to explain to one of my students, they see you as this big Black man, like they see you as that, and they're gonna respond to you as like how they see you from the outside of that veil portrayed like in the media. That's how they're responding to you. You don't even see yourself like that on the side of the veil, and that's okay. Like nobody's asking you to be super critical of yourself. Like that's not, no, I don't want you going around bearing the burdens of the world, because if you're going around bearing the burdens of the world, like you're not gonna be okay, and I'm not gonna be okay with you not being okay. But it's good to be able to think about those things. Not always, because if you're burdening yourself down with thinking about how other people are thinking about you, then it's just not gonna be good. But it's good to be like aware, to kind of understand sometimes where people are coming from. I get it. Like it's okay to be mad, because I get mad a lot and I stay mad like with my mad. Like I stay mad a lot, but it's also good to be able to understand where people are coming from. Even if in the moment you don't feel like teaching and educating and like explaining yourself, overcompensating for who you are, you don't have to. But it's good for you to personally like take away and like know that, okay, like, yeah, this is their experience as an individual in whatever location we're in, and this is mine. So I'm talking really fast. Okay, so these are just a lot of headlines, like a bunch of headlines. Just start naming off, what do you see? Okay, what else? Yeah.
They said suicide.
Yeah. What else? Yeah. Ohio State. You said Ohio State privilege? Did you say that? Yeah. Ohio State threw their department under the, oh my God. Anything else you see? These are images that we see like every single day, which is why I want to hit on that important part. I was just talking about the identity and how people are measuring you, like who you are, to what they see in the news and in the world, and how even sometimes we start to take on these different things that we see in the news and be like, okay, like this could be very much so applied to my life. Like Sandra Bland, like we don't look alike, but we look alike. And thinking about, wait, do we look alike? Yeah. But thinking about like those experiences and how this is the world that we live in. That's Charlottesville. That's privilege all over that newspaper article. That is privilege. Just imagine if it was us. If it were us at this table. If it were us at this table, like.
We wouldn't even be lit like that. They still lit. That's the part that irritates me.
Lit.
I would have been hosed down.
Lit.
They still lit.
No, and it's important. And it's important. It's important to be able to look at these different images. Bring it back. Bring it back. No, yes, it's I know. I feel it too. I feel it. No, and it's good. It's good for you to be able to think about those things and question those things. Why can't we do this? Like, why is that? Why are they considered? What did 45 say? What did he say? That they were fine people. Fine, very fine. Yeah. And what did 45 say about? No, don't you say it. Don't you curse in here. Yes. Yes. But thinking about how what's going on in the world impacts you individually and how you're showing up to the table. Like I mentioned earlier, it's hard for me to be scrolling on my social media feed and I see these things and I'm expected to show up like all of me. That's the expectation. Is that what they get? No. Go to the next one, Bree. And then bringing it home. Bringing it all the way back home. Bringing it.
Who said not that email?
Bringing it. Okay, so, hey, FIU, you're aware that segregation is illegal. What? Slavery was very legal and still is. I wonder if you would allow white students to have a white student union and post a KKK flag, since you've allowed only black students with the fist is the hate group, the black pit. Go to school. This is racist, and I plan to make you famous for TS. Get ready for a media storm. You racist felons deserve it. That's your door. This is our door. This is our door. Any of us could have very well like been in that picture. Cause how many of you go in and out that door? Yes, that's our door. This is our home, and this is somebody like outside of that veil seeing what they see and measuring us up to what they saw on the last slide, what they see in the media, and feeling like they know like who we are. Like, I know, but actually bring it back. So that's that. Then, well, that's not that because there's a lot that needs to be, dissected in that. We don't have time. And then thinking about this one, FIU is committed to mine and yours, core values. In response to the card that had derogatory messages written on it. This is us. Dear members of the university community, at FIU, we pride ourselves on our diversity and cultural richness. We pride ourselves, but yet some of your students, some of us are hurting. But I have no pride right now. I'm hurt. Like, actions that undermine any member, be clear, what members of the university, members of the community have no place at our university, which cherishes inclusion and civility. Honestly, I didn't even know what this was referring to. I only knew because my roommate is BSU's advisor. That's the only reason I know. So if I'm just a student, like somewhere, I'm like, what the president talking about? We got values.
Literally on that, I was in a group chat, and people were just like, oh yeah, they sent that email, and they were like, yeah, I heard it was about some foreign exchange, not exchange, that's not what they're called, international students. I keep saying foreign exchange, I'm sorry. Some international students, and and I took all of my piece to not jump in that group chat and say, nope, it was about black folks, it was about us, nope.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yes.
Because they were going to be like, where are the receipts? Who said that was for y'all?
Yeah. because it's not here. It's not supported in what this message is.
I know I personally haven't heard anything about that. But the fact that I'm reading this is the first time I'm really reading this.
From August 31st at that.
And like I get their emails and I read them, but usually by the headline, if it doesn't look interesting, I'll just delete it. So I never saw it. They didn't make it clear what this was about. So
They did not make it clear. No, you're right. We have become aware of the incidents involving racist comments. What incident? Like when, where, what were the comments? Incidents. This is inconsistent with our values. Whose values? Because FIU isn't necessarily reflective of all of us. We will take appropriate action against attempts to harass or intimidate any member of the university community. Anyone who wants to report bias incidents should do so with a bias education. Granted, there are some things that I appreciate that our university does. They do a good job in many different areas. And just like other institutions around the world, FIU is struggling with talking about what it means to be a black student, like not only on a college campus, but just in the 21st century. So I give all college campuses like that much of like consideration and like understanding. I understand. But it's times like this where you have the opportunity to be that leader, to go to that next step, to do things that people have never done before. Like I'm standing here literally like not denouncing FIU, but I'm an employee and I'm talking like I'm criticizing the school. Like it's hard. It's hard to do. Like it's hard, but it's necessary. Because if we won't do it, then who will? Who's holding our university accountable? Is it the agents or is it the responsibility of the targets? Who? Okay, so I'm gonna zoom through all of this because I'm like over my time. So, because I want to leave some time for us to just be able to like just talk. So I used a seat at the table, and then Tina Lawson said, I think a seat at the table for me is an invitation to allow them to pull up a chair, get very close, and have these uncomfortable truths be shared. Like I said, it's not pretty, and it's not fun, and it's not glamorous. Like this, I was nervous about doing this like all night. I'm like, oh my God, people are gonna be like, that's the orientation girl, and she's talking about being black. Like, what is this? Like, they are uncomfortable, but they need to be shared because we all need to be able to hear these things. It's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be fun. You may not get to dance to it. You're not gonna breathe easily through it, but that's the state of the times that we're in right now. Like I said, if we're not doing it, then who will? We're going to continuously see news articles like we've seen before. We're going to continuously get emails that talk about us but not talk about us, you know? It's my invitation to actually open up those doors and to have that voice get messy and lay out my truths and stand firm in them. Tina Lawson. That's not easy, and I commend this beautiful black woman to be able to doing those things because it's not easy. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, we're going to zoom, like completely zoom through. For the presentation, I pulled some different song lyrics and just thinking about like your experiences. I'm just literally gonna read them and you sit there and you're like, okay, I remember that. Anybody y'all have listened to the album, right? Okay, perfect. I know y'all are like, yup, and I'm big mad and I got something to say after you done. So, okay, I'm gonna give you a chance. Okay, so you got the right to be mad, but when you carry it all along, you only find it getting in the way. They say you gotta let it go. I talked about letting it go earlier. They say it's up to you what you're going to do with all of what you're mad at. But do know that like sometimes it will get in the way and it will be messy, but it's yours. It's your mess and you can respond to it how you choose to. I ran into this girl. I said, I'm tired of explaining why you can't just face it. Man, this is draining, but I'm not really allowed to be mad at the table where like when I get super excited and pumped up and ramped up and I'm like ready. Like, why is that different than this person right here that's name probably isn't Jummy CEO with all those, like, why is it different? And then we cool and everything, but don't touch my hair. Like, that's my favorite. This is me. Don't touch my pride. They say the glory's all mine. Don't test my mouth. They say the truth is in my sound. You're at these tables. You're in these different leadership positions for a reason. Silencing is real. Feelings of isolation is real. And I'm saying you have the right to feel however you want to feel and take time when you need to take time. But I also need for you all to understand, like, you're sitting in this room now. Like, you recognize, one, that you have a responsibility and you have a voice. You recognize that. And number two, now it's time to get that confidence and lay out your truths. Like, be at the table and be vocal at the table. Don't just be taking up a seat and taking up some space. Like, let it be heard. You know, I rode the ride, I gave it time, but this here is mine. I don't know if y'all know that she was referring to like riding your hair, and it takes like a real long time. Oh my God. And so take ownership in like what you're doing and what you have. And then I love gifts. I have the app on my computer. Gifts, these things. Okay, I hope my son will bang this song so loud that he almost makes his walls fall down because his mama wants to make him proud. All of us have our different reasons why we do what we do. And it's good. You can't forget that. You can't forget that because that's the only thing that's going to keep you motivated besides yourself. They said, man is in the whole wide world. Made this song to make it all y'all's turn for us. This is for us. Like you're in these positions. We have a community that we have following behind us. Yes, like some people take on different roles in the community, but I know what I'm doing, me personally, isn't for me. It's for all the little black Jamesias, don't be black Jamesias, but all the little black girls and little black boys. I'm really passionate about children and education that are gonna come after me. That's what it's about. I'm not doing this for myself because I'm gonna just eventually like get all these degrees and like die. Like I'm gonna be gone. But what have I done for the people that are gonna remain once I'm gone? I tried to drink it away. I tried to put one in the air. I tried to dance it away. I tried to change it with my hair. Yes, I explained all of this. I tried to change my name. I don't know if y'all realize like how that is like so problematic, but we get so wrapped up in what's going on around us and who we are not and like who we want to be instead of just being comfortable with our true like authentic selves. Like I said, it doesn't happen overnight. Like it takes time. Like it takes so much time, but it's so worth it when you find out your true authentic self and you're comfortable with being whoever that it is that you choose to be. Don't drink it away, okay? I tried to keep myself busy. I run around in circles, think I make myself dizzy. I slept it away. Yes. I don't need y'all sleeping away. I don't need you all giving up. Take care of yourself. Do what you got to do to make sure you feel whole. But know that we have a responsibility. And like I said, you're sitting in this room because you know that you have a responsibility. So, don't go to sleep. Stay awake. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, and then this is my favorite one. You want to be the teacher, but you don't want to go. Wait, here you go. You want to be the teacher? You don't want to go to school. Don't want to do the dishes. You just want to eat the food. Yeah, this is sometimes, I highlight this all the more. This is sometimes that's every single person around us, and particularly like in student affairs. I don't know if you all are familiar with like student affairs and that whole blah, 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 da, da, da. But it might happen in your different roles and your different experiences. There are people who want to get up here and talk about this to you all that don't. They don't want to go, they don't want to get dirty. They don't want to listen to all of like how you're struggling with, how that extra baggage, how all those news stories, how like y'all, it even goes to so specific. I was telling Bree, I felt like I couldn't wear this shirt to work. I was like, I thought about it. I was like, I picked it up in the car, but I put it back. Like, I'm not going in there with that on. Like, everybody ain't finna be looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, but if like, what am I doing? I'm first and one, like suppressing myself, taking away like who I am, and like, granted, like going to work and stuff, like I work in a different place, but thinking about like, why did I like challenge myself? Why did I think that was an issue? Like, what was I afraid of? But people want to talk about like why Black student unions are important, but somebody as an avid supporter of a Black student union, I don't even feel comfortable being an avid supporter of a Black student union, like, at my table. Do y'all see like where all of those like chicka like it's a lot. They just want to eat the food. They don't want to let you wear your shirt. They just want to post their picture of you wearing your shirt on the website. Go to the next. I don't think y'all heard me, but it's okay. And so reclaiming our identity. This is Sister. Yes, everything I aspire to be is right here, like in this picture. It's reclaiming our identity. It's time for us to stop letting people define what the black experience is and telling us what they believe the black experience is, the black student experience is. And it's time for us to be like, no, this is what it is because I'm a black student, and first of all, my experience is not gonna be like hers and not gonna be like him. So we need to talk about it, and we need to reclaim like that. And even like our own like true identity and like who we are. It's time to reclaim that. Yeah, this is my girl. I got a GIF app. If y'all want it, I can share it. Go to the next slide. Go to the next one, Bree. And then, like I've said, it's our responsibility. Solange was talking about Beyonce. She always looks to me and puts me on a pedestal for speaking my mind. And I'm like, and then she said something else. But you're at the table. You're on that pedestal, whether you want to be there, like, or not. It's not like when I was a president at the NAACP at UT, like, I did not want to be up there. I didn't want to be up there. I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to do it. It was a lot of responsibility, and I knew people would see me, and they would have expectations of me just as they did. But sometimes it's thinking about, okay, like, what battle, like, what am I going to choose to do today? Like, what does this mean to me, and what is this going to mean for those that come after me? All of our whys are different, but that's just something that, like, I value and is important to me. Go on to the next one. We're going to go quick. Then the active citizen continuum. I feel like I don't need to explain this because I feel like y'all are good, but I'm going to hit on it. It goes from being a member, not concerned with any social problems at all, which you can see that some people, that all the people that aren't in this room should be in this room. So right now they're out there being members. Because look at all these, yep. Y'all better go get y'all friends. And having that exposure to like what is going on. And then being a volunteer. You're well-intentioned, but you're not well-educated about social issues. And it's attending workshops like this or attending different talks, taking those different classes that talks about different cultures. So you're actively like learning. And so you don't also have to like go to the target and be like, okay, like what's this about? Because I don't know how many of y'all like hate that. I know you hate that. But I don't know how many other y'all like hate like, whoa, what's this? Like, why? What's going on? Like, in St. Louis? Yeah, how did you? No, don't do that. And then being a conscientious citizen. So again, that's learning. Being concerned with discovering the root causes and asking why. Whenever anybody like asks why things going on, my answer is always slavery. Because like, if they paid attention in elementary school, they would know like why we're having so many issues because slavery. It's not the answer for everything, but it is the answer for everything. And we can talk about it later why I think it's the answer. Wait, it's the truth, isn't it? It is. Thank you for telling me I'm right. And then being an active citizen, community becomes a priority in your values and your life choices. I want all of you to end up moving on this to this very end of the continuum. I feel like everybody's like somewhere like in the middle. Not everybody, because some of you might be like a community, like whatever. But I want all of us to be on this end eventually because there are people that are coming after us. And it's our responsibility to make sure they're not coming into this world, like how it is right now. That's our responsibility. Like, what are we going to leave? What are we going to do that will show that we were here? Beyonce has a song, I Was Here. I want to leave my footprints on the sands of time to know that I meant something in somebody's life. The hearts that I touch will be the proof that I leave, that I made a difference in this world. Will see I was here. Okay. So we're almost there. So why shouldn't we hold in our truths? Imposter syndrome. I kind of shared my story of imposter syndrome and how I was like, nope, I cannot be this very black person. I need to be Jimmy J. But that's real. And some of our brothers and sisters and friends and family members and other students, classmates are experiencing this at the table. And it's not us calling them out or being like, you need to go discover your true authentic self. Like you need to, no, it's just being aware of like how some people are moving down the continuum of their self-identity exploration. And then working in a homogeneous place where you feel like you're the odd one out. Many of you hit on that about how you don't like feel like there's anybody there. And so that's why you shouldn't hold in your truth, because sometimes you are like you are that voice, but not only are you like, yeah, you may see yourself being that voice for the black people, but you're also your voice for yourself. You're your voice for yourself. And then I added this: black women are only 5% of managerial and professional positions in the workforce, according to the American Progress and Catalyst. We need to be at these tables. Black women and everybody, we need to be at these tables. So what are you doing? How are you challenging yourself? What tables are you at? What tables do you want to be at that you're not at? And then we talked about the feelings of isolation, stereotypes. We talked a little bit about that, how other people around the world like view black people and how they're putting that on each of us and then using it to make us not feel like we are a part of our group. And so being able to recognize those things, sometimes it can be very stressful. It is a stressor. It is. It can be. But it's learning how to reflect and work through that. And then know that you're not alone. Like, all of you have somebody, right? Right? Like, if you don't have anybody, you make sure you, like, see one of us at the end so you can have somebody, okay? Because everybody needs a somebody. Y'all know I got a song for that, right? Okay. All right. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. And then being okay with your truth. Find your crew. That's your friend, your people, your somebodies, your everybody. Reflect and respond. Think about your experiences and then respond by doing whatever you need to do. Whether that's like changing your behavior to reflect more of who you are, or like going and teaching somebody about what your experience as a black student leader is. Celebrate your achievements, big and almost big. I didn't say little because everything is big. We do everything big around here. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself. Take ownership for the things that you're accomplishing, like in your life. Don't diminish yourself, like at all, just because you're not performing how someone else at the table is performing. You're at this table for a reason. Accept well wishes and some feedback, not all feedback, too. Protect your power. And with that, I'm saying basically, I have it down there too, is choose your battles. Like, you don't always have to overcompensate for everybody else's lack of understanding. Protect your power and protect like your voice and use it for what you see fit. Seek out opportunities, continue to get involved, and be gracious with yourself. Know that you're not perfect and you're still growing, you're still developing. All of us are. And then learn how to say no. Maintain yourself, self-care, maintain your health. Self-care is important. Take advantage of like your people that you have in your communities and the resources that we have here at FIU. And then assess your strengths and your challenges. Know what you bring to the table and know those things that you need to work on. Because if you're finna be up at the table, like, you gotta be able to like show, like, okay, I bring this. You gotta have your receipts, basically. You gotta have your receipts. And that sometimes takes some time, like sitting down, okay, taking this strengths assessment, or just writing out some things that you know that you're good at and then working on them and building upon them and then recognizing some things that you could work on, some challenges that you may have. I know a challenge that I have is like active listening. Like, because when sometimes like my students be talking to me, I'd be like, ooh, Jamisi, wake up. Like, listen. And then I talked about choosing your battles. And lastly, stand firm in your truth and be your true, authentic self. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't. But know that you are who you are for a reason, and you're in this world for a reason. Go to the next one. And then what are you trying to say? What is your truth? We can talk about that in a minute. Go. And then thinking about yourself, like who you are fabulous. You are where you're supposed to be. I just said that. And thinking about your sphere of influence. This man, like, even though some people were kneeling for the wrong reasons, but he had everybody kneeling. Like everybody. Even though some people attributed to 45, like in his, but nah, it wasn't him because it wasn't him. But think about your sphere of influence. Think about those people that are watching you, whether they're family members, whether they're like your students that you serve here at FIU, whether it's people just at the table. People are looking at you. And not everybody's looking at you to criticize you. People are looking at you to emulate what you're doing because you're doing what's right. And you're being yourself and you're doing something that you love. And then lastly, I'm rooting for everybody black. And I'm okay with saying that. I do what I do for my community because I want black people to be able to be excellent and thrive in any way, shape, form, or fashion that they want. And so, and it's okay. If you're doing the same thing, it's okay. We can all root for each other. We can be in a circle like, yeah, black people, black people. Like, it's fine, and that's okay. And then, lastly, thank you all for being here so much. I appreciated it. It was long, but it was worth it.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Oh, aren't you great? And then, does anybody have any questions, comments that you want to share? Anything? Okay, everybody had their hand up at one point. I'm just playing. Well, if you don't have any questions or comments, before I hand it back over to Bree, I have my business cards here. If anybody wants to chat later, I'm welcome. I'm open to presenting with people at the Student Leadership Summit. Whatever it is that you need from me, I'm here. But thank you all for listening.